Now, what's wrong with liberals? Everything that's wrong with being a conservative. What's wrong with conservatives? Well, everything that's wrong with the United States of America. Now, liberals and conservatives are one and the same thing because they get offended by facts. And I see a lot of guys saying, like, oh, well, liberals suck their thumbs, they cry like little babies, they get offended by everything. And I've seen some guys wearing shirts, and I see these memes on the internet saying, facts don't care about your feelings, meaning that this somehow applies only to liberals. And the funny thing is, this applies to conservatives too, because they don't like hearing facts. Liberals don't like hearing facts. Conservatives don't either. There's a difference between, liberals and Democrats and conservatives and Republicans. I'm not referring to them as a political party. I'm referring to them as everyday citizens who are emotionally irrational, as well as people who argue with their emotions instead of using logical fact. So, with that being said, it's really not that different when it comes to liberals and conservatives. You tell a liberal any fact, and they'll just hide behind political correctness. I really don't see how that makes conservatives different, because as I do recall, conservatives get upset about everything. If you were to tell them that the majority of terrorists in the United States are uh, right wing extremists, then they'll be very upset and they'll get defensive. That right there is a fact. Of course, they want to ignore that fact whenever they get upset that a mass shooter just so happened to be a Muslim. Like that homosexual, like the guy who is gay and in the closet who shot up the nightclub, the gay nightclub in Florida. And of course, he claimed to have been a Muslim, but he himself just so happened to be a gay guy. So really, when it's like when you tell a baby or a little kid something millions of times and he doesn't listen, they're just gonna kick their feet and start fussing. Liberals act like that. That may be true. But conservatives act like little kids that throw a hissy fit just like liberals do. That right there is a fact. Because as I do recall, when it comes to liberals, you tell them anything and they say, oh, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a misogynist, you're this, you're that. You tell a conservative something he doesn't like to hear, they're gonna say like, oh, you're such a sissy pansy ass liberal, or you're a pansy excuse of a liberal. You're just a snowflake, and then you want to act all macho and puff their chest out like a bunch of goddamn birds. For all you conservatives out there, stop blaming liberals for everything. As I do recall, you cry just like the liberals do. You call them snowflakes, and you talk about how you know they shed their baby tears over every little fact because facts hurt their feelings. Well, even though that may be true, let's not forget something. For all you conservatives out there, facts hurt your feelings too. And when someone disagrees with a hardcore liberal, they get emotionally irrational and then they fight with you about it and they scream in your face. And conservatives are not that different. Just look at the 2016 election. The Trump supporters and the Trump protesters, they were assaulting each other, throwing objects at each other. They were hitting each other in the face. So you could blame it all on the Trump protesters all you want. But as I do recall, if nobody agrees with Trump supporters on anything, they will punch you or they will sucker punch you in the face without you even noticing, because they're cowards like that. So, as far as I'm concerned, you could say liberals are snowflakes who are politically correct or whatever it is, and they just cry over every little thing, and facts hurt their feelings. But as I do recall, conservatives are no different because they whine and complain about everything too. And as I do recall, facts actually hurt their feelings as well. So, with that being said, conservatives, for all of you guys who consider yourself conservatives, stop blaming liberals for everything. Because liberals are not the only thing that's wrong with the United States, the conservatives are as well. And if conservatives don't see that, then they are clearly senile and completely delusional to the point where they find solace sticking their heads in the sand like a bunch of brain dead ostriches. So I'm not going to sit there and act like conservatives and liberals are somehow different. Because I've already stated my views last year when it comes to Democrats and Republicans. I'm an independent. And I don't consider myself conservative or liberal. Because there are some things I could agree with a liberal, and there are some things I could agree with a liberal and a conservative. So I can agree with some things with liberals. I can agree on some things with conservatives. But that doesn't make me either conservative or liberal. I am just independent, and I am right down the middle. Whereas you guys are either far to the left or far to the right. And this is something I hate about this country sometimes, is that you can't be in the middle. If you say one thing that doesn't mesh well with someone else's beliefs, you're either far to the left or you're far to the right. And I find that pathetic, considering the fact that you guys are both the same. Really, that's just how it is. And quite frankly, it's becoming very mind-boggling and very annoying how this endless cycle, this endless battle of stupidity has to continue over and over and over again. Enough is enough. Stop being a bunch of losers and give it a rest, okay? I mean, because you're not going to fool me about this nonsense, alright? So, I think it's best that you guys get over yourselves. Really. So so for anyone who's watching this video, just remember this. If you're a liberal, look in the mirror and see how you're behaving and compare yourself to how the other side of the spectrum acts. Liberals and conservatives are one and the same thing. You argue with your emotions instead of using logical fact, and you blame conservatives blame liberals, and they say that they ruin this country and they blame Trump for everything. Well, let's not forget something. You dumb conservatives were blaming Obama for everything that was going on in this country. So how are you guys different than liberals? You tell me. Conservatives blamed Obama for everything. Liberals blame Donald Trump for everything. Liberals get offended by facts. They get offended. They get emotionally offended and emotionally hurt too easily because they're babies or whatever. Conservatives are no different. You tell any conservative that the majority of terrorists in the United States are right-wing extremists, they're going to say like, oh, you're just trying to insult me. You're just a liberal. Is that not defensive? Is that not emotional? So if liberals are sucking their thumbs like a bunch of babies, what does that make you dumb old conservatives? Besides being senile and delusional. You're sucking your thumbs just as much as the liberals do, because you get offended just as fast, if not faster than a liberal. Because you don't like to hear facts. I could tell you a lot of harsh facts about Donald Trump, and you're gonna say like, well, that's not true because that's just something the liberals said. Well, here's something I'm also gonna tell liberals and conservatives. Donald Trump is the same thing as Barack Obama. Nothing but a sellout. And I'm not apologizing for that. So until then, to all the liberals and the conservatives out there, please, stop it. Get some help and get a brain.